So tell the audience a little bit about Patra.
Um, Tell a little bit about me. I own a tax practice, but it's different than regular tax practice because we focus on helping business owners saving money in taxes and I also invest into alternative investments. But if you want me to go back to my story, I can also
Yeah,
share
please
that.
do. Yeah.
So, okay, I was born and raised in Thailand and I came here about 15 years ago. At that time, I did not speak English much, right?
Hmm.
Um, and at that time, I just, because it was my dream to come to US and to have my own business because my parents both are business owners. And I was like, I told my parents like a month before I came to US that, hey, I'm going to come to US for about 1 year and then I will go back home. And at that time, I was like sitting on the airplane and on like a person on my right, they were like Caucasian, and on my left was a Caucasian too. And I was thinking to myself, what am I doing here? Because I'm gonna go to a place where I don't know, I don't have any friend in different country, and I don't speak English, right? But I was like, there is no way that I can turn the plane back home, so I just go ahead and go along with it. So when I came here, the first thing I do is I went to an ESL school, try to learn English,
Mm.
I um and after a year I realized that I this is the land of opportunity, and so I stayed longer than a year. And what I did is I decided to go to an accounting school because I realized that if I want to have my own business, having a good foundation to be able to understand financial statement, income statement, and balance sheet, that would be the great way to start. So I decided to enroll into an accounting school. And one of the things, this is my secret, is that because at the time I'm afraid to talk to people, so I was thinking that if I go to an accounting school, I don't have to talk to anyone because it's all about number, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so after going to school for about my on my third year in college, I thought I feel like I need to go to get a job so that I can understand how to do it, like in real life, to understand accounting and taxes better.
Hmm.
And at that time, I tried to apply for a job, put my resume on Indeed, but nobody want to hire me.
Hmm.
So what I have to do is I had to go, knock door by door at CPA firm nearby my area and submit my resume. And nobody really called me for an interview or anything. So at that time, I was working in a restaurant while I'm getting my college degree. And what happened is I was asking to my friend that, do you know anyone who owns a CPA firm? And all of a sudden, a customer who owned a CPA firm, he just happened to be there. So I just walked there and say, hey, are you looking for someone to help and all that? And he said, yeah, come to my office the next tomorrow. So I show up the next day. That's how I got my first job.
Oh, wow.
And exactly.
So
So
when you came to the States, where did you come to? Where were you living?
I came to Georgia, Atlanta,
Georgia?
Georgia.
Okay. So are
Yes,
you in
and
Atlanta?
yes, I'm still
Okay.
here in Atlanta.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, when I look back, I feel like it's a good thing that I don't let my fear to overcome my goal.
Hmm.
And this is like the best decision in my life. I that came to US, and I am able to learn and do a lot of things outside of my comfort zone. So just go back to my story. So I worked in a CPA firm for about like 4 years, and I know that there is something more that I want to pursue. I don't want to just to stop and working for someone getting income. I decided to become a business owner, and it was a challenge too because it's not easy to coming from different country, and people also like question you. You don't
Yeah.
you have an accent and you look young. So what I have to do is I have to prove myself. And my first client, how I got my first client is that I had to go to like different businesses in the area and to talk to the business owner, go to networking event with my high heel to go like introduce myself and trying to prove myself that I'm somebody.
Yeah.
So I started to get my, first client, second client, just like a small. And I remember the first time I get my first client, I was so happy. Like, and even though my first client didn't charge that much, and was not very see the value of myself because I just want something to get going. And from there, I built my business from zero with no revenue, with no client. And now I own a tax advisory firm that I have 15 people working for me. They're either CPA, EA, and I built into like multi-million-dollar company. And but my journey is not stopping just here because I know that um, I want to build something bigger to the next level, right? So
Sure.
now I am looking into, investing into like alternative investment because I want my asset to grow too, and I want to build passive income.
Yeah.
And so that's how I, get a lot of mentor to be able to and learn as much as I can. I spend like reading and listen to podcasts, and now I am to my next journey to look for the alternative investment to build my own asset, and I can create passive income for my like that I can help and contribute more, because in my culture it's not just me doing taking care of myself. I also have to take care of my family.
Hmm.
I want to be a contributor and helping, when we go to, I want to have a lifestyle that not just have enough. I want to have a lifestyle that, I can give it to anyone, my family, my friend, and be able to, we can go, go to a business class. We are thinking, have a certain thought. We want to go to a five-star hotel or to go on vacation without any constraint. So that's where I'm coming from.
That's awesome. And now, how long have you had the tax advisory business now? For how long?
I started my first client back in 2018. Oh, wait, 2018.
Oh, okay. So it's actually a
Mhm.
fairly recent business, and now you've got 15 people working for you.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Good for you. And now you're
Yeah.
trying to segue into real estate, one of my favorite subjects, because actually, one of my first podcasts that I did, I was talking about literally depreciation and how you can reduce your tax liability through investing passively through real estate. I mean, it's a game changer for anyone.
Exactly. I mean, the way I look at it is, there are different type of investment. You can also invest into like stock market.
Hmm.
I call it like a traditional type of investment, and you also have alternative investment where you can get tax benefit at the same time, because when you invest into the stock market, when you get paid through dividend, you get paid, you sell your stock, you have to pay taxes, right?
Sure.
But when you invest to alternative investment, you can get tax free cash flow, you can get the benefit of depreciation.
Yep.
Then there are so many ways that you can, when you have your and then you can get the benefit of appreciation too, right? But what I'm trying to say is, when at the exit, there are more ways for you um, to exclude your gain.
Yeah. Yeah. You could 1031 your all the equity in your deal into the next deal and just keep compounding that over and over and over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like my favorite thing in the world. Like real estate it makes the most millionaires, right?
Yes. And like they said, on the average, S&P 500 giving you a return of like 8 to 10%, right?
Sure.
8%. But in
Yeah.
the real estate, basically, like in 5 years, you can double your money.
Yes, exactly. I tell my friends and family that all the time, and they're dumbfounded at how you can do that. You know, they're like, I said, yeah, you could invest $100,000 into a deal, and within 3 to 5 years, be able to double your money basically tax free.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and what I think that most people, pay attention on, they usually pay attention on how much money they're going to make, like their income.
Yeah,
But in the best way to build wealth is to increase your asset, right? You need to take a look at your balance sheet and how to build that asset to grow so that you can be free and live the life that you want to have, which is
absolutely.
building your asset, produce your passive income.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, right? That people don't understand that it truly can be passive if you're investing in. Let's just use an example. Let's say you're working with somebody that's all they do is they invest in real estate, right? So you could invest into their fund as a limited partner and reap the rewards passively and let them do all of the work, and you still get all of the tax benefit and the income from that deal.
Yeah, that's a good point too, Bo, because many people, when they think about real estate, they may think that they have to go, take care of their tenant, take care of, all the maintenance, what do they call it? Toilet,
Yeah, yeah,
tenant, and
yeah,
termite, right?
yeah.
So, but, and in reality, actually, there are alternative ways for them to invest. They can invest passively, like in a real estate syndication,
Yep.
and that they can get all the benefit of real estate without doing any work themselves, so they can focus on their family.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people attribute like if they do invest into real estate passively, they're going to invest into a REIT, right? And REITs are not the same thing because REITs, number one, I think the average return for a REIT is like 2 to 3%, and you don't get any of the depreciation out of it. The REIT, the company that runs the REIT gets all of the tax advantage of the REIT of the depreciation. You're just getting a stable return year over year at like 2 to 3%. Well, why not, instead of investing in a REIT, take that same money and invest into a real estate syndication where you could, like you said, double your money in 3 to 5 years and not pay taxes on it?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Bo, because with REIT, it's mostly the way they structure the entity is like a C corporation,
Yeah.
and the C corporation give you dividend, and you have to pay tax on those dividend, and you have no control. And I mean, um, control is probably not, I mean, with there was a syndication, you have a management, you have no control anyway. But I'm just talking about the way that when you get paid dividend, you don't get the benefit as when you invest into real estate syndication.
Yeah, right. Because correct me if I'm wrong, dividends are taxed as ordinary income, right?
Yes.
And then your
That is
previous
correct.
example is if you invest in stocks and then you sell the stock, then you pay capital gains tax on any earnings that you made through that, right?
Yes, that is
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. And so even though
I
capital gains, the percentage for capital gains is lower than ordinary income percentage, it's still, what is it at right now? 25%, I think,
the
capital gains.
maximum of the maximum of the long-term gain is at 20%.
Yeah, 20%. And now politicians are trying to make it so that they want to tax unrealized gains. That's like one thing that the
Oh
politicians,
no.
yeah, right. So I don't think people understand that. Like, let's talk about this for a minute because you're the tax person, right? What taxing on an unrealized gain is? Let's say you own a home and your home appreciates. Let's just use a very random example. Let's say it appreciates $100,000 over 1 year, which is very, during COVID, was very common, right? What they're
Mhm.
saying is what they want to do is they want to be able to tax that increase in valuation of your home on your tax return, even though you didn't cash it out, even though you didn't sell the home. They want to be able to tax that appreciation of your home. And I want to say it's like 20, 25 or
That would be,
30%.
oh my God, that would be crazy. I
It would be
haven't,
crazy.
um,
Because
yeah.
what happens
I
if you
mean,
have another '08, right? If you have another 2008 and the market crashes, and let's say your house goes, let's say you bought your house for 400,000, a year later it's worth 500, right? And they want to tax you on that 100, and then let's say the next year the bottom falls out and all of a sudden that house is worth 300. Well, you lost 200, but you don't get to write that off. You don't, and you've paid out taxes on the 100,000 that you appreciated. It's just bananas what they're trying to do right now.
Wow,
I don't know if you're following that.
yeah, I haven't heard of that, but I that's almost like another property tax.
Mm-hmm.
Because a property tax, you're also not selling property, but you have to pay tax based on your fair market value.
Yeah.
Because currently, with the current tax law, when you sell your residential property, we can find exclusion up
Yeah.
to 500,000 if you are married five jointly. But so what you are saying is that you have to pay taxes, even though you don't even sell your property. That
Yeah. Well, okay, let's use another
that's
example. Let's
crazy.
do stocks, right? Rather than a home, because that's what they're also trying to do. Let's say you went out and you bought Apple stock for $100 a share. And a year later, that Apple stock is now worth $200 a share. They want to tax you on that 100,000 or that $100 increase, even though you didn't sell the stock, even though you haven't, done anything with that stock other than it's sitting in your IRA or whatever, 401k or whatever. They want to be able to tax you on that $100 increase from the prior year, which is just bananas because again, you have not sold the stock. It's just like, you know, the public and the politicians are so they push so much on these billionaires. Billionaires should be making more or pay more tax, and they say people like, Elon Musk that's worth whatever $300 billion. He's got $300 billion in stock valuation. It's not like he has $300 billion in cash sitting in the bank, right? He owns some stock. The only way that he can actually realize that that valuation is if he sells his stock. And so I don't think people understand that just because somebody is worth X amount of dollars doesn't mean that's actually what they have sitting in the bank or what they're earning per year.
Wow. That's the that's not.
It's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope they're not go. That's not they. That's not gonna pass the law.
I
I
don't
hope
I don't
it's
think it will, but it's been going around. They're trying to really push they're trying to push for that because they're trying to earn more tax revenue, which is crazy because if you think about it, like somebody broke it down where the average person, the middle class person, basically works for free for the first 5 months of the year because they're paying tax based on the amount of money that they pay out in taxes, right? So
yeah,
it's 40 to 50. By the time you add in your federal income tax, your state tax, if you've got a county tax, if you've got a city tax, you got property tax, you got sales tax, you got all of these taxes. By the time you add all those up, 40 to 50% of a person's income is going to taxes.
yeah, and that's not gonna encourage people to work or make more
No,
any more money
no,
anymore. That's make me think about that. I just talked to my team member on one of our clients today. He is making this year 2024 for 25 million on gross revenue. The net is around like 2.3
Yeah.
2 million, but he has to pay like even it's close to 900,000 in taxes. That that's almost half of what he's making,
Yeah.
and that's where we came in and try to find many strategy,
Yeah.
to help him with that, and maybe strategize on how we're gonna move forward,
Yep.
how we going to structure income, maybe considering some type of real estate income instead, so he doesn't have to pay taxes
Yeah,
on what he
100%.
earned.
100%. Because that is another perfect example, right? And I say this to my accountant all the time is so your friend that on his income statement, right, says that he made net what was it, 2.3 million or whatever it was, right? Net income.
Yes, 2.3
Okay.
million. Oh,
Just,
net income,
yeah, net income.
AGI.
So he made 2.3 million net income according to his income statement. But that doesn't mean that he's got 2.3 million dollars of cash sitting in the bank, right? Because there's things that sit on the balance sheet that don't hit the income statement that you still have to pay out, like debt service, like other taxes, right? Those things sometimes are not, well, a lot of times are not on the income statement. So it could very well be that 900,000 that he's got to pay in tax could be all of his cash.
That's painful
It's
to write that
painful.
check.
Yes, yeah. Because now that business owner needs that cash to keep operating, but he's got to give it to the government. It's bananas to me.
Yeah, and that's why some people consider to move to Puerto Rico,
Yeah, yeah,
even though they don't want to be away from their family,
yep,
but they might have to because half their income is going to go to taxes.
yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and so to your point, this is exactly why those type of people need to look into investing passively into real estate, because that 2.3 million that he's showing on his income statement, if he had $1 million of depreciation that he could add in there, then that's like that would reduce his tax liability by another $1 million,
Oh, yeah. I
right?
mean, I think the key things here is number one, they need to have good tax strategies to
Yes.
help them minimize their tax liability, and also have a good, operate their portfolio income like their own business. Because many people, they are just so busy working and they just
Hmm.
spend most of their time, operating their business, but they totally forgot about. They just focus on building their income,
Right.
but they did not taking it seriously in when it comes to their portfolio. They need to manage that, doing it like they have their own business, right? Like, they need to have a mission, vision, the
Yeah.
goal of that portfolio, and take a look at where do you want to go so that they can structure their portfolio income, passive income correctly.
Yeah.
And I even have like some client who just want to reinvest everything into, their operating business, which is I mean, it's a big asset, right?
Yep.
That can give them one of the best return. But however, what if something happened that they
Hmm.
cannot work? Is their income going to be reduced? And or they might not even have that their income anymore, right? So
Correct.
that's why passive income is so important for their financial. And people need to understand and educate themselves on that.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. 100%. Because again, using your same example of your client slash friend, if he went and he took um, $1 million, right, and he invested it passively in some real estate, and he doubled his income or his initial investment in let's say 5 years, right? So he turns 1 million into 2 million in 5 years. Then, if he repeats that process again in year 5 to year 10 and doubles that 2 million to 4 million, I mean, that is huge. On top of you've you've 4x'd your initial investment tax free.
Exactly. With good
Good
strategies.
strategy. Yes, more people need to be thinking like this, right? And you know, a lot of people just worry about their 401ks or their IRAs, which is fine, right? Like people should be investing in those strategies. However, if you just took a slice of your portfolio and moved it into real estate, you could probably reduce your retirement age drastically by investing in real estate. Because with your IRA and your 401k, you're always dealing with the ebbs and flows of the stock market, right? You got the 2008
Yeah.
crash, then you got the crash from COVID. We had the tech bubble burst in the late 90s, and I'm old enough to remember that each one of those times that people were ready to retire during those times, they had to work another 10 to 15 years because they lost
Wow.
a lot of their retirement during those bubbles.
That's so concerning.
Yeah. So you're right.
If
More
that
people need to
happened.
think like what you're saying.
Yeah. That's and and many people it's not like, I think education is so important um for them to, it's gonna be so worth it for them to spend time on like to do some education and educate themselves in finance, rather than, some people, they just even do more research on buying TV
Mm.
or buying something for maybe going to do, shopping online,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
rather than spending enough time to do research on investment.
Yes. Yes. I agree 100%. More people will spend 4 to 5 hours a night sitting watching Netflix rather than maybe just spending, 30 minutes educating yourself on different financial strategies, investment strategies.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see more of that, like put into our school system, right? Where you could start teaching kids this kind of stuff so that they become smarter with their money when they come out of high school. I mean, most kids nowadays, they don't even know how to balance a checkbook.
Mm, yeah. Definitely. I totally agree with that. I think they should have more life lesson, not
Hmm.
just about theory, where, I remember but back then when I was in school, I learned something that I don't even remember now, and all I do is just memorizing.
Yeah.
And memorizing, it doesn't really help you to be, to interact with people or
Yeah.
to do anything with real lives.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like they're teaching like trigonometry in high school. Like who in the like 99.9% of the people that graduate high school will never use trigonometry again. you
Exactly.
know,
I know.
or they're teaching like um um what's the other subject that like chemical why can I not think of the name of that class that deals with chemicals?
Because it shows that's how
Yeah.
it's not useful, that is Bo.
Right, I agree. Yeah. There's actually a school
And
near me that's recently opened up that kind of does what you're talking about, where they kind of teach more lifestyle stuff and they focus more on like the kids being outside and in nature and learning like
mm,
uh responsible interactions with their
yeah,
peers and stuff like that. I think that's great.
is that more like a Montessori type of school?
No, it's not like that, but I think it's kind of like a blend of that and homeschooling in a way. But it's
Oh,
very unique. I've never seen anything like it. But
nice.
yeah, I think you're right. I mean, there's a lot of shit that needs to change in the world, but we're just the peons.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, when I was younger, I didn't go to school in the US, right?
Mhm.
I from in high school, I mean, my middle school, high school, I was in Thailand. But as I remember, in Thailand is even more tough, because I remember when we were in the classroom, and if we in Thailand, what I learned is how to be disciplined. That's what I
Yeah.
learned most of it. But other subject, I think that is most of it I don't remember anymore. And I remember how in Thailand it's totally that different than in American culture. If we making noise in the classroom, for the whole classroom, we have to like sit down with your knee for the whole hours, because you got punished. Or
Oh,
I know in America you probably get sued by now, but and we got like spank if you put nail polish on your nail, you would get like
really?
spanked too. Yeah, in Asia they are very tough.
It's very
It's,
modest,
it's
right?
yeah, I think that education need to be changed, and I agree with you that they should teach kids on how to do social skill, how to get along with others, and of course, when it comes to finance.
Yeah. In Thailand, do you know is the tax structure high in Thailand too? Are you taxed very high in Thailand?
No, I think America is one of the highest country, and I think it's the only two country that tax people income worldwide as long as you're American. In Thailand, I think that is a lot of maybe corruption, and some
Mm.
people pay tax and some may not pay tax. That's why it's still a developing country, even though it's a lovely country. You should go there too. It's wonderful.
It's from what I could see on social media, that's like where all the content creators and whatnot are going. They go to Thailand because it's so beautiful there. Like the water is pristine and the
Oh
islands
yeah.
and stuff like that.
I mean, over there, you can go, like, there are food everywhere on the street, and you can buy anything for $1. I mean, not everything, but like, there's just like a street food, right? And it's so much fun. And you go to like five-star hotel, you can spend like less than $100, and you get
Really?
treated like a king.
Is
And
is Bali in Thailand?
no, Bali is in Indonesia.
Indonesia. Okay,
Indonesia.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it's near there, right? That's close. Is that
Yeah,
close?
it's close Southeast Asia.
Okay, yeah. So very
You can
similar
go.
in terms
Yeah,
of
sorry.
cost, right? Like you could you could live there very cheap.
I think so. I never been to Bali before, but in Thailand, if you like massage, you can get it less than $10 to get
Wow.
a good massage. Yeah.
Wow.
It's just far, but when you arrive there, it's a wonderful place to be.
Oh man. Well, I'm gonna have to visit, especially for $10 massages.
Yeah, it's less than $10. You can maybe get it for $8. And if you go there, you want to go get some skin treatment too. They have like very professional. I mean, um, people like to go to Thailand to maybe go shopping, get some skin treatment,
Really?
and go get massage.
Oh man.
Yes.
It's like a 24-hour flight though, isn't it?
Oh, it's a long flight. So my plan is next year I'm gonna spend. Usually, I like to spend like minimum of 3 weeks when you go there. But next year, I'm planning to spend like 2 months.
Oh,
That's
cool.
financial freedom. I
Yeah.
mean, that's like a freedom for me.
I was actually talking to a friend of mine that lives in Italy, and um, they were saying how cheap it is to live in Italy, and I was like, "No, get out of here."
Really?
Yeah, and so we looked it up, and no joke, you could get an Airbnb on the water in like Lake Como, right, which is beautiful. You could get an Airbnb on the water in like Lake Como for $50 a night.
Wow.
And the food is cheap, and it's like fresh food because they're constantly going out and they're fishing, or they're constantly making new food, and the food is not processed in Italy like it is here in the States. So that's on my bucket list for next year, is to go spend like a month there.
Yeah, and you know what you could do too, Bo? You can go because you can go to the route of Italy and then go to Thailand, and your flight it won't take 24 hours. Now you only have another maybe like 10 plus hours left to go to
Okay.
Thailand.
So yeah, I could do a month in Italy and then a month in Thailand and get my $10 massage.
Exactly, and get some good food.
Yeah, hell
I,
yeah.
I, yeah, actually, I'm planning to go to Italy next summer break too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we- I've heard a lot of good things about Italy. And last year, my son, I have a 10 years old son,
Mhm.
and we went to a charity at my son's school,
Mhm.
and I did some auction, and I got a place to stay in Italy.
Really?
Yeah, I was auctioning something that I didn't even know that I was auctioning for Italy, but I guess it's meant to be. And the place is like look beautiful. It is about like 40 minutes away from Venice,
Okay.
and but I pay a lot on on that auction though. It's
Yeah.
for
Oh, I'm sure.
donation to the school anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, when I
Yeah.
was when I was younger, like in my like mid 20s, I was actually going to do a backpack trick through what I was going to do is fly into Rome. I was going to backpack through Italy because I would have been able to get the high-speed rail pass, because the high-speed train runs all through Europe, right? And so I was going to backpack through Italy, see all the great sites in Italy, take a ferry from Italy over to Greece, visit Greece, and then go to the Greek Isles, and then be able to fly out back home from the. And I was going to be. I had it planned to do it. I think it was like 35 days and stuff like that. And the person I was going to go with like backed out at the last minute. I kicked myself for not just going myself and doing it, because that would have been an amazing experience.
Uh, you can still do it again anyway.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So have
As long
you
as
been
we
back to Thailand since I assume you've been back since you've come to the States, right? To go see your family and stuff?
Yeah, I actually just went there here in June. Of course, it's always wonderful to go back there. People are it's very nice.
Hmm.
Everybody is smiling. The culture is totally different over there. It's like you feel like in America, everyone is just working, working all the time. When you go
Yeah.
back there, I have
Yeah.
a big family. My mom, she has like 12 siblings. So when I got back to Thailand, it just we never get bored.
Yeah.
Here, everything is spread out.
All right, do you have any brothers or sisters? Do you have come from a
I
big
have one.
family?
I I have a, oh, for me, I
Yeah.
only have one sister,
Oh,
my
wow.
older sister. But my mom, she has 12 siblings.
I would have thought that she would have had a lot of kids too, since she came from a lot of kids.
I don't, yeah, she should have, right? I guess she
Yeah.
doesn't want to do the same thing. She actually, she was actually the one that, because she was one of the older sister. So she
Mm,
has to help
always
her
taken care of.
mother taking care of the
Yeah.
younger one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. So,
Yeah.
outside of your tax business, your tax advisory business, are you also
Mhm.
doing you also have a real estate syndication business too? Or are you just raising capital? Is that what you're doing?
Yes. I focus, I mean, real estate is one of them. I also do oil and gas and, tax efficient investments. Um,
Hold on, oil and
anything.
gas. So you're investing in like potential oil fields?
Yes, exploration and drilling for oil and gas. That's like one of my favorite um, investment
Really?
too.
But isn't that
Exactly.
like high risk because there's no chance that there's no certainty that they're gonna be able to hit oil or gas where they're exploring?
I mean, it could be, right? But that's why you have to pick a right operator who you want to work with. And majority of the time, because I'm also risk adverse, I like to invest into something that not gonna like, yeah, very high risk. Because the one that we invest into oil and gas, I look into they already go into, test it out to see that if there is any oil inside of it or it's already operating, then we go in there and purchase the right to get the oil after,
Mhm.
and it's giving you like great benefit. The reason why I like oil and gas because of number one, it can give you deduction upfront. Like on
Mhm.
the average, it's about 80%, which is if you invest 100,000, you can get tax deduction of 80,000. If you have like your adjusted gross income at, I mean your income, you have your earned income at 100,000,
Mhm.
you can reduce it to 20,000, right?
Okay. Yep.
And it could offset any type of income, earned income, W-2 income, your capital gain income. It's just like it works for all the income. And then you can also get the distribution, on the monthly basis, as long as that into the life of the well.
Okay. What kind of returns do you normally see with the oil and gas investment?
So what have return? Definitely, number one, you can get the benefit from reducing your taxes upfront already.
Yeah.
And normally, I think it's around. It's. I mean, it depends on the well too. I don't
Sure.
wanna give the number out, and then
Yeah.
because everything that you invest, you have to see pros and cons. There is nothing guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
you do is you have to make sure that you work with the right operator,
Yeah.
and I work with the operator that they've been doing it for a while or a long time already. They have track record, and I think the average return they could get, it's like 4 to 7x time multiple.
In how much time?
But so and how much time? That's a good question, Bo. So what my understanding is between like 16 to 18 months, you can get the return. No.
Oh,
Pause right there. But you can get your original return back, right? Your
okay.
investment back. And then after that, you can get your return until that's excluding the tax benefit though.
Sure.
So you
Sure.
can get your return back if you invest 100,000, on the average around like 16 to 18 months you can get your 100,000 back,
Uh-huh.
and then and you can get the monthly distribution until the well is not producing oil anymore, right? And usually it's about like on the life of the well maybe 10, 20 years.
Wow. So I mean, you're talking some major residual income over that time.
Right. And what we do is we don't just go into one well only. We
Hmm.
need to take a look at the minimum of 4 well at the minimum.
Yeah.
So it's like if one doesn't produce as much as you know projected to be, then you have other well to help producing that. So it's kind of like
It's offsetting that.
reducing your risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so where is most of this drilling happening that you're looking at investing? Like Texas or where?
So the one that I'm talking to one of the operator that we're gonna go in it together is in Wyoming,
Oh, okay.
and we're gonna have an open up in the new opportunity in November, and we're still looking for which well we want to work with if because we're not just investing, right? It need to meet our criteria too.
Sure. And what's the minimum investment?
The minimum investment we suggested 100,000
Okay.
investment, but I mean, but the minimum that we could work with, it could be like 50 to 75,000.
I mean,
Just
even
depend on the
still, to get your original investment back in 18 months is like fantastic.
exactly. And I mean, it's not just the investment that you put into, you get the tax like on the same year. If you contribute for 2024, you can get the benefit of your to reduce your taxes for 2024 right away
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Wow. That's very interesting. I might have to talk to you offline about that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and usually, the like I like to invest into multifamily and oil and gas because of the year that, um, like the if the when the market is doing good for multifamily, oil and gas might not do so good, but the year that oil and gas is doing good, multifamily is not may not doing
Sure.
good. So it can like
Yeah.
balance it
Yeah.
out, right? Your
Yeah.
portfolio.
Diversification, right? That's everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't put
Yes.
all your eggs in one basket.
Yes, I always tell my client that all the time.
Yeah.
But still need to you need to educate yourself and try to, understand what type of risk that involve into your investment because everything there is pros and cons to it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, 100%. I remember way back when I had an operator that would reach out to me from Texas that was doing that a similar
Yeah.
thing. But man, first off, I was not educated enough, and it was just such a risk to invest in that if you didn't know for sure that they were going to be able to hit the oil or gas, right? And I think they were even doing fracking too, but still, I mean, that you could do all those tests, right? But maybe technology's improved because this was probably 15 years ago that I would talk to this person, but it was a very, very interesting investment model.
Yeah. That's why you want to work with like a big company, the company that we work with, like Exxon, EOG.
Mm,
So they already know, the land in the area because they already drilling in those land already. So the risk will be a lot lower too.
right, right. Yeah. And there's so much untapped natural resources in the US. I read somewhere, I don't know if this is true. I read somewhere that there's actually more oil and gas reserves in the US than there is in the Middle East.
Yeah, I think we are one of the biggest producer, like one of the top producer in oil
Yeah,
and gas. And we like to we export a lot of oil and gas to different country too, but we buy because the cost of oil and gas is cheaper, so we also buy it from other country, even
sure.
though it may look like, why do we like export out
Yeah,
to other country while not using us because the cost of importing is a lot lower than we
sure.
exporting it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Very
So
interesting
those are
stuff.
fun things.
They are
That's my
fun things.
hobby. Those are my hobby. Doing some research on how to build well.
So, what's your goal on the syndication side? Like, what are you, how much do you typically raise for a deal?
How much do I typically raise for the deal? Actually, I am on I'm in the middle of a race in one multifamily. If anyone interested
Hmm.
into investing, we have currently we investing in 26 unit in Oregon.
Okay.
And the reason why I decided to, join as a GP in this property, that's because of the operator boot on the ground. He's already, because when you talk about multifamily real estate or any real estate, it's like a teamwork, right?
Yep.
And you're not gonna go. Even some people may think that, oh, I live in Georgia. Why do I invest in Oregon? Why not invest in Georgia? So the way I look at it is, just all about financial,
Yeah.
how the P&L is telling you, and the story of this property is that the owner, she's a Korean lady, and she's looking forward to sell the property because she want to retire and don't want to operate the apartment anymore. And
Uh-huh.
this deal, it's an off market deal, and she was looking into like some type of like triple net, like mailbox money, instead of operating the apartment. So my business partner found this deal from a broker that who he has a relationship with, and he also have a property nearby already. So the benefit that I see is, and they're doing very well with another property, so we are going to share the cost of the payroll cost of the leasing agent, which cutting the leasing agent the payroll cost in like more than half of the
Oh, wow.
cost
That's
from the,
huge.
because yeah. And the usually when we take a look at multifamily, there are the cost like taxes and insurance and payroll. Those are the big fixed costs, right?
Yeah.
And we are trying to reduce the expenses and see like the value add with this property. Though I don't know if I talk too much, but you
No,
just
you're
let
fine.
me know if
No,
okay.
you're fine.
So,
Spit it out.
okay, thank you. Spit it out. So with this property, it's 26 unit gated apartment community. That the look is like townhome properties, right?
Hmm.
And it comes with 20 garage.
Mm.
Those 20 garage, it's 100% occupied with a wait list. And when we take a look at this property, it was at 92% occupancy rate, but now we have it at 100% occupancy. So what we are going to do, first thing, without adding any additional expenses, is that we are going to increase the cost of the rent for the garage rent, right?
Yeah.
Because right now it's 100% with the wait list. So we're gonna increase that, and also some portion of we have about like 12 people pay under the wrap season, which is a
Yep.
we call it reimbursement, utility reimbursement, right?
Yep.
Utility reimbursement. So we can like in, and there are like 14 people who are paying the fixed fee. So with two of these strategies that we are going to increase, it's going to bring up the net NOI to about like let me think, it's about close to 20,000.
Oh, wow.
I think it's 20,000, yeah,
That's
on the
great.
NOI per year
I'm
without
gonna
doing anything.
I'm gonna put you in touch with a company that I work with. What they do is they will come in and they help on the property tax side of acquisitions,
Yeah.
because what typically happens when you buy a deal, the purchase price is stamped on the deed, and that's what the assessor goes off of, right? What this company does is they will have the deed rewritten based off of the real property value, not the purchased price. Because when you purchase an income producing business like an apartment building, you're buying an asset based off of NOI. So
Mhm.
what they do is they will come in and they will kind of like almost like do a tax cost segregation on the property to peel away anything that is not real property, to be able to reduce the property value that's on the deed, because that's what you technically should be paying tax on, is the real property, not the income producing side of the property. And so they're able to reduce property taxes pretty significantly, which will also help with your NOI. So I will make a email introduction after our podcast.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Thank you, Bo.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know that in Oregon, they have a rule that they cap. What I like about this property, another thing that I like is they cap the. I'm not sure. I think when you buy a property, it's probably they're gonna take a look at the market value, right? But every year, if you still own the property, they only the maximum they cap it at 3% from the prior year.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't have to worry that okay, the next year if they change the fair market value and you have to pay significant in taxes.
That's a great
Like
law.
it's yeah, it's more stable.
Yeah. Because you've got states like Texas or
Texas.
Florida where property taxes are doubling and it's killing a lot of investors, you know? So between that and insurance, a lot of these investors deals are starting to suffer because taxes and insurance are, you know, doubling, if not tripling on the insurance side.
Yeah, that's gonna be so hard for Florida. They get big hit on the insurance and they
Yeah,
get big hit on taxes too. Wow, who's want to invest in?
I know, right? I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Patra, thanks so much for coming on. Where can people get a hold of you?
You can visit my website at www.patrafrancis.com, but it's going to reroute to my website. It's called the netwealth.com. So it's the same website. And you can also get into, I have the lead magnet.
Yeah.
It's called, it's going to help you, giving you resources how to understand how to invest into multifamily and real estate syndication. So
Okay.
just, yeah, you can get up, or you can also connect with me on LinkedIn,
Okay.
Patra Francis.
Great. I'm going to put all that in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on. It was a great conversation. I enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank you so much, Bo.
Thanks so
Nice
much.
chatting with you too.
Okay.